Good morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome. All who are gathered here, what a great crowd. Those viewing online, our camera's right back there, so maybe I'd ask those of you who have balloons on this sort of aisle right here to either raise them up a little bit or lower them so folks viewing across the country and around the area can see. Thank you very much. What a wonderful sea of balloons. What a wonderful celebration. So again, welcome everyone who's gathered here or online. And a wonderful celebration of purple today in one place. It's a happy coincidence that our chairs are purple, the hydrangea flowers outside are purple. It's a Gene Kim kind of day. Let me introduce myself. I'm Halleck Greider, the pastor here at Maplewood Presbyterian Church. This is the church of Gene's ordination to ministry in 1987. And we are honored to host Gene's service today in the company of such amazing people here and online. And the great cloud of witnesses who cheer us on while we continue our journey here on earth, which Gene has now joined. And we celebrate that today. Today's service is a celebration. It's what Gene wanted. She also wants us to keep working to fight homelessness, which we will. But today, for this morning, we celebrate. We celebrate a life, an abundant life, well lived. Of course, there will be tears, yet they are tears mingled with joy as we join the celebration of Gene's life. And we celebrate that Gene is receiving that divine accolade from God. Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter into your rest and the joy I've prepared for you. We admire Gene because she knew her life's purpose and was fully committed to it. She gave her whole self, heart, soul, body, resources, right up to the end to fight homelessness, to fight for you, her friends, and for all who needed help, to know the love of God, which she experienced and was grateful for during her life. Gene left wishes for her service today, hence the purple balloons in the place of flowers, and all of us wearing purple. And the hymns we will sing and some of the songs we will listen to were Gene's choices as well. So as we sing them, as we hear them, we do so knowing that Gene sings with us. We join her voice in lifting our praise to God. And as we come to worship today, hear these words from Psalm 116, which are also an expression of Gene's heart and of God's faithfulness. What shall I return to the Lord for all his bounty to me? I will lift up the cup of salvation and call on the name of the Lord. I will fulfill my vows to the Lord in the presence of all his people. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his faithful ones. O Lord, I am your servant. I am your servant, the child of your serving girl. You have loosed my bonds. I will offer to you a sacrifice of thanksgiving and call on the name of the Lord. So as you're able, please rise. We're going to sing together, Heaven's My Home. We look forward to hearing many tributes to Jean this morning and great music representing Jean's ministry. And so those of you who are participating, I'm just going to ask that you find yourself in the order of service today and just come up when it's your turn. We won't introduce you, but please introduce yourself.
Wow, this is an amazing view from up here with all of the purple and the purple balloons. Greetings, everyone. Good morning. I'm here my name's Amy Delaney, and I was pastor at neighboring Edmonds Presbyterian Church in this presbytery, and I've known Jean Kim since the 1980s, so we go back a long way. I'm also here this morning in my role this summer as the on-call substitute for our executive presbyter, the Dr. Corey Schlosser Hall. On behalf of Northwest Coast Presbytery, I bring you greetings, and I also bring you our sincere condolences. Jean was certainly one of a kind, and we will miss her dearly. Please join me in prayer. Eternal God, maker of heaven and earth, you formed us from the dust of the earth, and by your breath you gave us life, and we glorify you. Jesus Christ, the resurrection and the life, you tasted death for all humanity. And by rising from the grave, you opened the way to eternal life. We praise you. Holy Spirit, author and giver of life, you are the comforter of all who sorrow, our sure confidence and everlasting hope. We worship you. Eternal and triune God, we bless you for the great company of all those who have kept the faith, finished their race, and who now rest from their labor. We praise you for those dear to us, whom we name in our hearts before you. And especially on this day, we thank you for our sister Jean, whom you've now received into your presence. Help us to believe where we have not seen, trusting you to lead us through our years and bring us at last with all your saints into the joy of your eternal home, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jolly. I am a member of Jean's Board of Directors of the Jean Kim Foundation. Our scriptures this morning start with Deuteronomy chapter 15. However, there need be no poor people among you, for in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess as your inheritance, he will richly bless you, if only you fully obey the Lord your God and are careful to follow all these commandments that I am giving you today. And from Luke chapter 9. Jesus replied, foxes have dens, and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head.
Everyone, I am Reverend Dr. Linda Smith, service pastor of Mary's Place in the Church of Mary Magdalene. And it is really our honor to celebrate an amazing woman who continued to inspire all of us to do more. And so we're grateful today to share some of her favorite songs. So thank you.
And you are welcome to sing along.
let it shine, let it shine. Trusting in the Lord, I'm gonna let it shine. Trusting in the Lord, I'm gonna let it shine. Trusting in the Lord, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. For poor and hungry folks, oh, I'm gonna let it shine, yeah, yeah. Poor and hungry folks, oh yeah, I'm gonna let it shine. For poor and hungry folks, oh, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And on that hallelujah, oh Lord, I'm to be in that number, that hallelujah day. And here she comes, I won't drink him. And here she comes, I won't drink him. Oh Lord, I want to be in that number when the saints go marching. And so one of the things that Pastor Kim taught us and left with us is what we call the affirmation of faith and the community blessing. Marty will be doing the affirmation of faith, and we're going to end it with the community blessing.
We'll start with our affirmation of faith. If you know this, please join us. We, who are homeless or suffering from multiple difficulties, believe in God, who created and blessed women, men, and children equally in God's own image. We affirm God as a loving and forgiving God. Therefore, we refuse to be treated as inferior and less worthy human beings. We loudly affirm that we deserve to dream a vision, a hope, and a future. We re-image Jesus Christ as a forgiving and healing mother, father, sister, brother, friend, and Savior, who himself was homeless, abused, and killed on a cross. We affirm Jesus' resurrection as a mirror of our own healing from our poverty, homelessness, brokenness, bondage, and destructive thoughts and actions. We affirm the Holy Spirit as our source of strength and inspiration, who raises us up after every fall. The Spirit constantly leads us back home to God. We affirm our gathering as a worshiping community that practices love, joy, peace, forgiveness, security, and support for one another. Amen.
May the Lord love and keep us. May the Lord give us courage to continue. May the Lord protect and guide us. May the Lord show us the way. Hosanna, keep us safe. May the Lord give us strength to stay clean and sober. May the Lord fill our loneliness with love so that it spills out to others. May the Lord defend us in the presence of our enemies and lift us up. May the Lord let his mantle fall on us, that sowing may lead to reaping, that we might be fruitful, and may the breath of God breathe on us.
Amen. Thank you, choir. You're amazing. My name is Marty Hartman. I'm the director of Mary's Place, and today I represent thousands of women and children who have called the Church of Mary Magdalene and Mary's Place home. And it's my honor to share about our founding pastor, our founder, our mom, our sister, our neighbor, and our biggest advocate and friend, Reverend Jean Kim. I could share with you about her many degrees of higher education, her extensive theological study, or maybe her profound work in social work, or maybe I'd talk about the 20-plus national and international awards since her retirement, or how about her participation on numerous boards that you all represent, or the trauma of her childhood within her family of origin, or as well as the Korean War. But instead, let me share with you about the relationship she has had with her sisters at the Church of Mary Magdalene and Mary's Place. Jean was fiery. She was hardworking. No challenge too big. She was just our dynamo. She stood beside the women and children on the streets of Seattle, telling them that they were good, that they were worthy, that they were lovable, until they believed it themselves. She scooped up our sisters who were sick, who were hungry, who were lonely, who were depressed, who were traumatized, who were victims of abuse, off the street into that brown van of hers. She offered to comfort them, to console them, to give them resources, but mostly to help them, to love them, and give them the acceptance that they were needing most. She listened to their stories. She heard their cries for help and their need to belong. Her vision was promoted by God. It pushed her and all the rest of us in this room to meet women and children and everyone experiencing homelessness at their need. I have to tell you, when I first heard the story of the Church of Mary Magdalene, coming out of her own grieving and healing through the loss of her teenage son, I was overwhelmed. This is the most devastating loss any human being can experience. And yet she experienced so many losses in her life, but this was to the greatest extent. She often shared with us her story with God and Jesus' story, who picked her up from the valley of dead bones to new life. She wanted that exact same thing for every person experiencing homelessness. You know, her being open to the Holy Spirit's leading set in motion the Church of Mary Magdalene and Mary's Place, our ministry for women and children experiencing homelessness. She gave birth to that over 30 years ago. And as you saw today, one of her deepest passions was worship. She loved soul-filled singing and dancing with purple scarves and tambourines. And this continues to this day, every Saturday, with this amazing choir and our pastor and our choir director who have been with us for so many years. You know, I will share that Reverend Jean saw us through some of our darkest days. She would mobilize churches in our community to advocate for systems change. She'd call out for new homes when we were experiencing homelessness as an organization ourselves. She would ask our community to stand up, to speak out, to march against racial injustice, against economic disparities. And she would ask us to work to dismantle those systems of oppression for our Black and our brown neighbors and our communities of color. And she called on us to create the political will to change policy and what she called to develop a holistic democracy. She left us some tall marching orders. But most importantly, she challenged us to be in relationship with all of our neighbors, to be fearlessly welcoming to those that are different from us. So when we face challenges and catastrophes, we've always been like children seeking help from their mom, needing encouragement and direction, and Jean always responded. You know, Jean was God's loving touch to us. She was the breath of life in the city of Seattle when we needed it most. But her mission lives on. It's vibrantly growing and continuing to meet the need of the least, the lost, and the lonely. And yet our hearts are full. They're full of appreciation and gratitude and love for who she was and who she will continue to be. She loved us all so well. And so we find hope in her challenge to each one of us. You can do more.
Good morning. I'm really happy to see so many people here show up for our beloved Jean Kim. My name is Jules Butler. I am the president of the Jean Kim Foundation. Pastor Greider and Sam Kim asked me to say a few words this morning about Jean Kim, and I am honored to do so. Before I get started, I want to mention that Pastor Chris Boyer of the Good Shepherd Baptist Church sends his regrets. He has asked me to represent him and Good Shepherd here today, as well as the Jean Kim Foundation, which I happily do. Pastor Boyer was actually the one who introduced me to Jean Kim. He knew that I wanted to do something about homelessness, but I didn't really kind of know what to do or even where to get started. But Jean Kim knew how, didn't she? And this dynamic and powerful woman who stood no taller than my shoulders. She had ideas and boundless energy to realize them. She spent her life devoted to service to others. And in July of 2015, using gifts she received for her 80th birthday, she started the Jean Kim Foundation. Her idea was that education is the best way to lift people out of chronic homelessness and poverty. Among many other things, Jean was a social worker, and she gathered together around her donors and tutors and administrators and other professionals and set about her tireless outreach and work. Since then, the Jean Kim Foundation has, in partnership with Pallet Shelter in Mukilteo and Good Shepherd Baptist Church here in Linwood, established Shepherd's Village on the campus of Good Shepherd Baptist Church. There we provide transitional shelter for those who need it, and temporary shelter to our students so that they have a warm, dry, and safe place to be and to study while they complete their education. Last year, during the pandemic, in partnership with Verdant, Linwood Land LLC, and the City of Linwood, and many others, we opened the Linwood Hygiene Center, which is located at the former Emission Center in Linwood. There we provide showers and bathrooms, a change of clothing, food, and other necessities to people experiencing homelessness. Now that center has become a hub of outreach and community for people so desperately in need. It's a place where we can go and connect with folks to find out what their needs are and see what we can do to meet those needs. Our own Joan Jolly, who you heard earlier, and Amber Lee Bell, who is busy actually working at the Hygiene Center now, daily service others in service to that Hygiene Center. Joan spends a lot of her time meeting people where they are, finding out what their needs are, if they need an ID, if they need to figure out how to register for school, if they need to figure out how to access one service or another, or even find out what the services are. Joan does that great work, and we thank her for that. Jean's passing has been a busy topic of conversation at the Hygiene Center. Those who knew her tell others that she was always their advocate. She never gave up on helping them. Over and over, you will hear there, quote, "Jean was a great lady," end quote, and she sure was. She took on hard battles like establishing Shepherd's Village and treated everyone with respect. They all knew that she liked them very much. I liked Jean very much. She was kind and generous and passionate and compassionate. And it was hard to say no to Jean. She had an infectious smile and a passionate urgency about her work. As I said, it was hard to say no to her. And I'm so grateful that when she asked me to join the board of her foundation, I said yes. I'm so grateful that I got to know Jean. I am so grateful that I got to work with her. The world is lesser for her passing, but she lives on in our hearts and in our work that we continue in her name and her honor. She continues to motivate me to be a better person. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for showing up. My name's Tony Thompson. I knew Jean for too short of a time. She was my friend, my mentor, inspiration to help others. We did a lot of good. This is amazing. I see a sea of purple. Unfortunately, I'm not wearing purple today. When my mother died a few years ago, working with Jean, she was one of the first ones I called. And she was instantaneously my spare mom. She didn't want me to be an orphan. I'll always love her for that. Everybody keep up the good work. We have a lot of work to do. That's all I have.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Maplewood. I'm Liz Carrington. This is Carolyn Harris. And we've been long-time members of Maplewood. So we were asked to share some of the memories that Maplewood in particular had with Jean. And we'll probably repeat some of the things you've heard, but it's still part of our lives here. She came on to Maplewood, bringing with her her vigor, her enthusiasm, her spirit of joy, and her love of God. And we were just amazed and happy to have her. Little did we know what adventures and new paths she was going to lead us on. It was a wonderful journey. And the first step in the journey was Jean came to us and said she'd been called to become an ordained pastor. And would we be a part of her team to reach that goal? And we said, absolutely. And a few years later, Jean was ordained in this sanctuary, one of 4 women who have been ordained in this sanctuary two of them came from other parts of the country to participate in the ceremony. What a great day it was, joyous one for us, and a great leap forward for the Presbyterian Church at large. All these women ready to serve their community. It was pretty wonderful. So it's not after that. Carolyn will tell you about the next step in our journey.
Hello. 30 years ago, Jean came to speak at Vacation Bible School here. About 30 years. I don't have the exact date. We all sat on the floor right here. We had a lot of kids, and they all sat on the floor singing. Not enthusiastically, singing. And then Jean said, "We sing until we're happy." And man, did they sing. We all got happy. Then I had the privilege of going to the Church of Mary Magdalene in the basement of Seattle First Methodist Church. Hallelujah. You're right. Let's see where we're at. We had a wonderful pianist there. I don't know, maybe she's here. It was a long time ago. Yeah, you are. Well, you were great. You look too young to be 30 years ago. But she played this old upright piano, and we rocked. And again, Jean said, "We sing until we're happy." The longer I sat there with these strong women, survivors of so much, and sang, a huge love filled me, and I had a knowing I was in the right place, on the right path, on the right bus.
During the last days of December 2008, the Seattle area had freezing temperatures, and Maplewood was suddenly called in to be a shelter for the night for people that were living on the street. And it worked great. We were happy to do it. And afterwards, Jean came to us and said, "How would Maplewood like to partner with the Nest Mission and offer community dinners once a week?" And we said, "Well, okay." She says, "But I have certain rules. The meals must be hearty, nutritious, and delicious. No snacks. And everyone who comes will be treated as a welcome guest." We said, "Fine," and off we went. And up to the start of the pandemic, Maplewood and the Nest Mission and lots of other help from other churches, we've served a dinner to the community once a week, and had to stop because of the lockdown, but we sure hope to be doing it again.
In the spring of 2015, I finally felt I had to do something about homelessness in Edmonds. Because of this, Jean came into my life again. A bigger friendship formed. She attended meetings with me, spoke to the city council. She was respected by everyone. Nobody booed Jean Kim's in Edmonds. She simply got permission to set up tents on the grounds of Good Shepherd. I met Tony probably 2 years ago. And he was really something, but I think he retired from that. Is that true? Yeah. She simply got permission to set up those tents when she learned Edmonds college kids were homeless. She went to the camp every morning at 7:30 to make sure the students were following all the rules, and learned their daily needs and got them off to school just like a mother would. She made it look easy. somehow she got her tiny houses. Edmonds has a homeless commission now, and nothing else. Then I didn't get answers for 2 days. We texted every day, and Sam's email came. After Jean went to be with Jesus, I got a message from Facebook. It was her birthday. Jean can move mountains and perhaps post on Facebook. Are we done?
Okay. Well, I'm missing a page, but that's okay.
I think we're done. Or are you going to talk?
I'm going to talk. Oh, well.
Maybe we should be done.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that one of her favorite things about the dinner was when everybody started singing. It was just wonderful. So how I'm closing is, did you read the headline in the Seattle Times about how Jean was the mother to the homeless? Well, she was a mother to us, too. She was the mother who, like with the students, said, come on, get up, wake up, we got to get going. There's a lot of stuff to be done today. I've got chores for you. And that mother. She was also a grandmother who was wise and knew the family and the struggles that the family had and what she had to go through. But she loved you as you, nobody ever loved you. No, she just took you as you were and loved you. That's a grandmother. She was the aunt who showed up with a big smile on her face, a lot of exciting stories to tell. She was the sister who took you by the hand and led you across the street so you got there safe to the other side. That was what Jean was to us. What she leaves to us is the mission to carry on. Together, working together, we can accomplish all these things that she wanted to get done. We can't do it alone. We have to work together. But she's right by our side, showing us the way to go. And we just all have to be there to show how God loves everybody. Thank you very much for coming today.
I'll be reading from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 4, another passage very near and dear to Jean's heart. This is Jesus' first public appearance, his first sermon, his first speech, his first teaching. It says, "Then Jesus, filled with the power of the Spirit, returned to Galilee from his baptism. And a report about him spread through all the surrounding country. He began to teach in their synagogues and was praised by everyone. When he, Jesus, came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, he went to the synagogue on the Sabbath day, as was his custom. He stood up to read, and the scroll of the prophet Isaiah was given to him. He unrolled the scroll and found the place where it is written, 'The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim release to the prisoners and recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor.'" Well, as mentioned, this is Jesus' first public appearance and his first public speech or teaching. And like anyone who begins, say, public office, for example, and gives their first speech or their inaugural address, or a pastor who gives their first sermon, it tells what's important to them, what they're going to do and what they're going to be about. That first speech tells you a lot about what matters to them and what their goals are. So here is Jesus in his first public teaching, and what's important to him? What's his goal? Good news. Jesus says, "I have been sent," and not just sent, but empowered to bring good news. In his first speech, his first teaching, Jesus reveals what he wants to do as God in the flesh. He wants to help human beings thrive. He comes to help human beings thrive, especially those who are hurting, who are poor, who have been taken advantage of. He reads from the prophet about bringing good news to those who need it most and indicates that his goal will be to elevate the humanity of those whose humanity has been diminished. He's going to declare their dignity and bring them dignity with justice. And this announcement represented a significant shift in the understanding and expectation of what Jesus was supposed to do as God's anointed. Here Jesus comes straight from his baptism, where he heard the words of affirmation and identity pronounced over him from above, "You are my beloved, with whom I am well pleased," which are words that God pronounces over each of you, by the way. "You are my beloved daughter, with whom I am well pleased. You are my beloved son, with whom I am well pleased." Now that's another sermon for another time, but please take a few moments sometime and dwell on that and just take it in. File it away for a future reflection. You are God's child, with whom he is well pleased. Well, Jesus comes straight from that, encouraged and empowered, and one might expect him in his first public appearance as the anointed one, speaking for God, to proclaim something like, "The Spirit of the Lord has anointed me to straighten out you bad people," or "I've been sent to smite the sinners." That was their expectation. But that is not his mission or his purpose. Jesus is making it clear right from the start that he did not come to judge or to condemn or to criticize, but to love and to serve. He came to bring good news. This is a significant shift in their expectations. He came to forgive, to heal, to set people free, specifically freedom for those who are oppressed, and freedom for the prisoners, it says. Those in debtor's prison, that is. Because the main thing you went to prison for in those days was unpaid debt. And the only people who got into debt were poor people who couldn't afford to pay accumulated taxes and therefore had to get a loan and put up their land as collateral, and they couldn't pay the debts because of exorbitant interest rates on their loan from predatory lenders that they could never catch up with. So they would be thrown into debtor's prison, and whatever land they had would be taken away. Sometimes a family member might be sold into slavery or to the sex trade to pay it off. So in pronouncing release to the prisoners, Jesus is announcing justice for the poor and the oppressed. And then he says he came to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor, which was Jubilee. And the idea of Jubilee was that every 50 years, well, every 49 years, they take the 50th year, all debts would be canceled, all land would be restored to its original owners, the land would rest for a year, and all slaves and prisoners would be set free in order to ensure equality, and so that there will be no poor people among you, as the Deuteronomy passage said. That's a radical idea. Imagine if every 50 years the U.S. government canceled all debts, credit card, mortgages, student loans, all traffic tickets and misdemeanors, erased from people's records, all jobs lost returns and things like that. Imagine that. It'll never happen. Don't get your hopes up. But it gives us an idea of the magnitude of what Jesus is announcing and the extent of the good news that Jesus came to bring, where everything is fair, everything is right, where the ground is leveled, and everyone experiences well-being. And to very quickly summarize the story from here, after this, when Jesus calls people to follow him, he calls them to this dream, this vision, and this action, to be good news people. People for whom the Spirit of God also blesses and sends into the world to proclaim the dignity and the worth of all people, and to lift people up, and to continue this mission of recovery and freedom in hurting and unjust spaces. Well, as we know and have heard and will continue to hear, Jean was a good news person. And she lived by this dream, this big dream, of a world and of a society where everyone was treated with dignity, where everything was right and fair and whole, and where everyone had enough, because she believed that God was a God of abundance, and there's enough to go around for everyone. Jean was a good news person, and she lived out this good news by caring deeply for others, by putting others ahead of herself. She saw that each person's life was precious and had worth and value. Kindness was her signature. She also lived it out by being passionate and committed to her purpose, and in her passion and commitment, she was fierce. You know, if you worked with Jean, that she was persistent and, as has been said, did not take no for an answer and wouldn't give up until she got yes for an answer. As someone said this past week, Jean didn't understand the phrase, "I'm not sure we can do that." Or at least not on that timeline. Sometimes Jean could be demanding because she was passionate and committed. However, even when she was demanding, she was always grateful, always appreciative, always supportive. Jean said thank you a lot. Jean was a good news person. Yet Jean didn't want to do this work all by herself. She didn't want to become a hero. It's not what she set out to do. She wanted to enlist us and everyone to work alongside her and alongside each other and alongside Jesus, who calls and empowers us to do the same work. Jean preached a sermon 10 years ago with a title that I love. The title to her sermon was, "Is God Out to Lunch?" And Jean's answer, of course, was no, God is not out to lunch, even if it appears that way because of all the trouble in the world. And her point in that sermon was the way we let the world know that God is not out to lunch is through our actions, our efforts, our love, by being good news people. So friends, are we communicating the good news through our actions and words from the boardroom to the classroom, whether from the pulpit or the public square, in our legislating to our lawyering, on a construction site or a website? Are we good news people? People who desire to help others thrive, especially those whom society has swept to the curb, taken advantage of, or deemed as unworthy. So the work continues. And it isn't just Jean's work. Jean would say that she was just doing what Jesus gave her to do based on his work and mission. We can't all be Jean Kim. And we're not supposed to be. She was one of a kind. But so are each of you. And you are supposed to be you. The precious gift of God that you are. And with the gifts and energy each of us is given, we can do our part, whether big or small. Mother Teresa once said that not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. So let's be the good news that this world desperately needs. Amen.
Somebody will move that chair. I think this is, yeah. All right. This is the Nest Mission Choir. And we're here because of Jean. Over 11 years ago, I met Jean Kim in South Seattle at a retreat for leaders for the homeless. Now, when I went to that retreat, I thought it was a leadership with everyday folk. Now, I don't know what everyday folk are, but that's what I thought. And when I got there, I found out that the leaders that she was training were people who were already homeless. And having experienced homelessness myself when I came to the Pacific Northwest with 2 boys, I kind of eased in. My husband and I provided a little bit of music, and we thought it was just a weekend. Just one weekend. Sorry, you're right. And then it turned out that the homeless decided they wanted to have a choir. They had never been in a choir. They did not sing. They had never even been in a church. And I'm like, we're going to do a choir? And Jean said, well, if that's what they want to do, that's their goal, then we've got to do it. And I was like, okay. And then I found out at least it was going to be close to home, and there was going to be a dinner every Friday night. And I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go for that. And then a couple of months later, there was a fundraiser. And we pulled together, maybe 15, 20 of our homeless. We pulled a musician and any musicians that would join us. And we began to sing the praises of our God. You see, Jean has gone on, but for those of us who know the Lord, we are not homeless because we have a home. We have a home. It's in glory, and we will meet her. Jean Kim is my Oni. My Oni. My Oni. My older sister. Irmi Cheryl Stowe's Don't Sing. I'm her little sister. The songs that we're going to sing, Amazing Grace, because it's amazing grace that we met Jean, that each of you met Jean, that your lives have been changed. You're not the same. You're not the same. And then we're going to sing We Shall Overcome. Now, when I mentioned that to somebody, they said, that's not a funeral song. I was like, this is not a funeral. This is a celebration because we have overcome. You got to overcome on the inside before you can overcome on the outside. And so sing with us, Amazing Grace, and we shall overcome. Oh, and by the way, we sing it both in English and Hanguma. We sing it in Korean. Join with us. 성례하리라 성례하리라 주 나의 Oh God, some its name, 성리하리라 Let's sing that one more time. One more time. We shall overcome. Come on, join us. Join us. Overcome. Come on. We shall overcome someday. Oh, keep in thy heart my doing. We shall overcome
여러분 만나서 반갑습니다. 둥지 선교 실행 총무 정덕실 목사입니다. I'm so glad to be here this morning, and actually, from time to time, I believe I met you before, but it's the first time to everyone together this morning. Actually, I was working Jean at the rest of her life, and my house living 10 minutes away from Jean, so very close, and we shared many things, work together, and sometimes she gave me her personal story, and I had a great time working with her. And she was just like mother for me, and actually she is my mother's age. And from time to time, people confuse, Sam and me, and are you Jean's son? And I said no, but I'm her son in faith. Yeah, and. As I remember her, first of all, she's cherish every meeting with people, very special. So whenever we meet her, then we never forget her. So 25 years ago, I met her first time, and I cannot forget her and our all conversation and what she's doing for the homeless people. And because of that, at the first meeting, our church involved in the first time, went to the downtown, not here, but in Ohio, we went to the downtown and served the homeless people. And it never happened before, but because of her, it happened. And when she traveled as a PCUSA's staff and also as a traveling preacher on the homelessness and women's issues, and she never stayed at the hotel or motel. She always insisted, I'm going to stay homestay. There's a reason. She wants to meet people and let them know, what is the poverty issue, what is the homeless issue in our society. So she met people, and that house, the host, once you get to know her, and their family become her supporter. So she keep on maintain the relationship, build up each one, and I believe 600 people for today's memorial service, Sam sent out the email. It's a way more than that person, but it's a limited people. It's 600. But it's not just the one person. It's a special relation between her and the supporter. So she remember each one of us, and then keep on cherish you and build up the good relationship and sharing what she keep on doing in her life. To the last moment, I believe 1 month before, she sent an email about the newsletter of her work. Probably you received that one. That much she kept on continuously work. Not only relation with the people who support her, but also every homeless people, she had a good, tight relationship with them. She never give up anyone, anybody. I remember. Sometimes, the homeless people struggle and got issues, but she never give up and keep on encourage them and then persuade them and meet and talk and never ending. As long as we do not give up, our homeless people give up, that they don't give up, she never give up. The only disconnect is when they fail or they give up themselves, and that's it. But she never give up. And I believe that is one of the most precious of her legacy. And because of that the relationship with Jean, we gathered together this morning. And for us, Jean is our legacy, precious legacy. But through her, each one of us, is her legacy. She left us here. Jesus left his 12 disciples on earth when he left. And also, she go to heaven without suffering anymore. And she left all of us on earth in our community, and just to keep on doing what she left for us and keep on doing her work and her legacy. And I remember a long time ago when we do the nest table, and one of the lady and man came to our place, and she took to Jean, and they had a interview with, I think it's more than 30 minutes. She talked, and I noticed, the woman keep on weeping. Later, once they gone, and Jean told me, Jong Muksa, Pastor Doug, you know what? She's a victim of domestic violence case. Whenever she got connected with the agency and then hiding place, the guy found out many different ways, pursuing her, and then threatened their family member, sister, brother, whoever, and then got the address and come to her. So she was desperate for many years, and she did everything, but nothing is working. And finally, she heard about the Jean Kim, and came to here. But you know what? What I said to her, I cannot do it. The reason is, she said, if I 10 years younger, then I will take her. But now I don't have any energy for her. That means domestic violence cases a lot of complicated issues, and so many things are involved, and it's not easy to get involved or connected with people. So that was a shock. I knew, so many years I knew her, but she never gave up. But that's the only thing I remember. And I keep on, think about her this morning, and that reminds me, and I believe that she left for us. We keep on doing that. It is not easy work. It's really tough and frustrating sometimes. But we can do all together. So, Next Mission will continue to her legacy and keep cooperation with all your agencies and all the people. And we keep on doing, helping our homeless people in our community and whatever we cost. So thank you so much and being with us.
Hi, I'm Rick Reynolds with Operation Night Watch. I met Jean when we were both seminary students at Fuller Seminary in the mid-'80s, as I recall. And, we went our separate ways. And then 10 years later, we ran into each other again. And she was working with homeless women, and I was working at Operation Night Watch, helping homeless men and women. And I was the executive director, still am. And then a few weeks later, after we reacquainted ourselves with each other, she called me up and she said, "Rick, we're going to have no homeless women at Christmas." And I thought, oh, Jean Kim, you are crazy. I really thought maybe something was missing there, But she says, "Rick, I got all the Korean hotel owners to take homeless women for Christmas. So we aren't going to have any homeless women on Christmas. They're all going to have a place to stay." Now I started trying to think, how is this going to work? Operation Night Watch opens at that time at 10 o'clock at night. We had a hard time finding places for women to go. And it was terrible at the end of the night when we'd have to hand a woman a blanket and pray for her. It was really tough, really just heart-crushing. And I started thinking about the hard lives of the women that we were seeing, because if a woman comes to Operation Night Watch at 10 o'clock at night, she's run through a lot of options already to get to us. There's something broken, a system failure, she got kicked out someplace, and so we had the hardest women sometimes in the whole city. "How is it going to work, Jean? I don't believe it's going to happen." She goes, "It will work. We will not have any homeless women. We will have every woman in a hotel on Christmas. No one will have to be outside." So all of my doubts about her sanity, my doubt about the plan, my own personal lack of faith about putting women inside in a nice hotel room for a night or two, all that got turned upside down and inside out because Jean made it happen. She got people, maybe some of you in this room, that helped make it happen. And it was a very good Christmas for homeless women in downtown Seattle that year. Just one little concrete way that Jean Kim loved her neighbors. I love her for that. I love her for showing me that things can happen when we work together with compassion and perseverance. And I wish I had more of that. Compassion, love, and perseverance. How about you? Yeah? Thank you.
I'll be reading a tribute on behalf of Mark Greenberg, who is unable to be here today, but hopefully joining us from New York. Mark was a former board member and president of the Presbyterian Network to End Homelessness, and is currently the executive director and co-founder of the Interfaith Assembly on Homelessness and Housing in New York City, which since 1985 has been working with leaders of many faiths to establish more equitable housing policies. And in '89, in partnership with the New York Catholic Charities, the Assembly helped establish its life skills empowerment programs to help men and women to heal from the traumas associated with their homelessness and rebuild their lives. Since its inception, this program model has been replicated at over 10 locations and graduated over 1,500 individuals. Mark says, I had the good fortune of meeting Jean by happenstance one day over 15 years ago, only because I was picking up my wife Victoria at the Stony Point Center in New York one afternoon, where she was working in the kitchen. My friend, Reverend Bill Pindar, who was the director of the center at the time, suggested I stay for a while and listen in on a conversation that about 40 Presbyterian clergy and lay leaders were engaged in on homelessness, an area which I had been working on for over 15 years. I quickly learned that Jean Kim was at the center of the conversations that day. A central takeaway from that day was that a recommendation that the PCUSA hold a meeting in Chicago a few months hence to discuss the formation of a formal Presbyterian effort to address the issue of homelessness on a national basis. One of my colleagues, who was also present at that meeting, offered to provide a scholarship for me to attend. At that conference, hosted by Chicago's Fourth Presbyterian Church, after much consideration, the Presbyterian Network to End Homelessness was formed, and I was elected to serve on its board. 2 years later, I was elected to serve as president, a position I held for the next 6 years, and then again for another 4. Through my service with the network, I had the privilege of getting to know Jean Kim. She was the brilliant, persistent guiding light of the network for its first 6 years. During that time, I was inspired by Jean's irrepressible energy and deep faith, a life committed to making a difference in the lives of others. I also had an opportunity to meet and work with others in Jean's network in Washington State as we visited with a number of congregations to learn about and support their efforts. As we know, Jean was universally respected and much loved. In my work with homelessness over nearly 40 years, I have learned that what is required is a deep faith, almost beyond reason. A belief that despite evidence to the contrary, homelessness in the United States is something that can end. It was Jean's inspiration that led us to call our effort the Presbyterian Network to End Homelessness. And now, after almost 4 decades of my engagement with this work, this continues to be my sustaining belief, and I consider myself blessed to have found a role model and a kindred spirit in our dear sister Jean. When I think of Jean, I am reminded of the words of Mother Teresa, now Saint Teresa of Calcutta, who said, God does not ask me to be successful. God asks me to be faithful. Amen. Thank you, Mark.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming to celebrate and commemorate my grandma with my family. It really means a lot to see how much her life impacted so many others for the better. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nina, and I am her youngest granddaughter. Right now, I wear my hair short like hers was, and I was even tempted to dye it purple in her honor, but I opted just to wear a lot of purple, as she always did. So growing up, I don't remember being very close to my grandma. I call her my Harmony, which is Korean for grandma. I remember Harmony was always busy working on her mission work and her sermons and pastoring and being a support for so many people. Me, I was busy being a kid, hanging out with friends, but also keeping up with school and extracurriculars. So we only spent time mostly on the holidays and special occasions, which wasn't really enough time to grow bonded and close. It wasn't until I graduated college that I really developed a deeper relationship with my grandma. After graduating, I felt a little lost, unsure of what my next steps were, and decided to go back home to take a rest and figure it out slowly. Harmony just had a major back injury that forced her to slow down and move into an assisted living facility near my parents' home, and I happened to also be home without a car, so she gave me her unused car. very generous, but unbeknownst to me, that also meant I was first choice for rides to the doctor, rides to get errands. But, she would pay me in very yummy Korean food, and we'd share meals together. Ultimately, I came to really appreciate all the memories we made during that time that I was her helper, and I'm glad that I learned about her and her life's work. There's so many stories I could tell, and as you all know, she was quite a character, and I cherish the fond memories I have with her. She was the most thorough person, very alert even in her old age, and she was very good at being prepared and thinking ahead. She never stopped working, as you all know, and she also never stopped learning, asking me how to customize her Gmail and computer icons up to the week before her passing. Harmony was a solid rock to me, a loving foundation of support that allowed me to grow into the person I am today. She accepted me for who I am, and for that I am so grateful. Her compassion and unwavering love for me will always stick with me, and I hope I can make her proud by how I choose to live my life and how I choose to treat others. Her life and the example she was is a special gift to me, and as I'm sure it is for many of you who have had the honor of knowing her personally. I hope she knows how much we love and care for her then and now. She is greatly missed and forever remembered, my purple Grandma Jean. Thank you.
And I don't know how it happened, but one day we were reading hymns at a different
Well, it seems that I'm up here again. Jean and I talked about this day so many times. You see, she and I have a little bit more in common. We both have a back condition. Yeah. And some people have noticed that I'm not as tall as I used to be. Maybe that's because Jean walked me so many times around that golf course talking about her funeral, her memorial service. Yes, we talked about this day over and over. And it was not a day I wanted to talk about. But as the final song, this is a happy day. And so, as the last song, Oh Happy Day, at her request, Sam, I don't know what I was thinking when you texted me, and I was in the middle of work, and I said, oh, sure, we can do that. And then afterwards, I thought, what was I thinking? Oh, okay. So you guys have got to help me. All right. Okay. Oh, happy day, oh, happy day, oh, happy day, oh, happy day, when Jesus He washed my sins away. Let's try that again. Oh, happy day, oh, happy day, oh, happy day. When Jesus washed, when Jesus washed, He washed my sins away. Let's try that again. Musicians got it. Happy day, oh, happy day, oh, happy day, oh, happy day. When Jesus washed my sins away, oh, happy day, oh, happy day, when Jesus washed my sins away. He still, oh, how watch and pray. Oh, He taught me how to watch, fight, and pray. Living joy seen every day. Oh, happy day, oh, happy day, when Jesus washed my sins away. Oh, happy day, oh, happy day, when Jesus washed my sins away. All right, we closed out, could have done better.
100%. This has been a joyous celebration of a life well lived. As we go forth from here, I want us each to hold something in our hearts that stirred you today. Maybe it was the word that you are a beloved child of God, or that your unique life is just as incredible and amazing as Jean Kim's life. So friends, receive the benediction. May the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord be kind and gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you peace. Amen.
I truly believe that my mother is smiling and happy today, as we sang. I want to thank you all for coming and celebrating the life of my mother. There were so many great stories that people shared, and I really appreciate all of those stories. Just want to mention that we have prepared a little light lunch, so I'm hoping that everybody can stay and have a bite before you go. And if you can't, there's always the option to go. So thank you very much again for all your support and love, and may God bless you all. Thank you. Sorry, I forgot. I'd like Pastor Halleck to pray for the lunch. Sorry.
Please pray with me. Gracious God, you are the God of abundance, and you have shared so generously with us. You've shared Jean with us and inspired all of us through her. And now we share your abundance through this lunch together. Strengthen us, Lord, with this good food as we continue to celebrate who you are and we celebrate our sister Jean. All God's people said, Amen. Let the celebration continue.